today we're going to be talking about writing to change the world. Now, this is kind of like a broad subject because there's a lot of different writings, and we can think about the world in many different contexts. So let's think about, a news reporter. They can go across seas, write a blog post, and that can change the world with what they report. Or you can write to your grandma or grandpa or parent or guardian, whomever, and you can write them a little message, and that can change their world. They'll always remember that, and that changes their perception of the world, and it can really make their day. So today we're going to be talking about persuasion and persuasion in our writing. So persuasion is essentially, for those who might need a reminder, persuasion is essentially writing to convince someone to do something, to believe something, or to just kind of adopt that belief. And persuasion can be used to accomplish many things. It can be used to convince someone of something. In the election year, it can be used to persuade someone to vote for someone. I have a little book right here I wanted to show everyone. It's called One Vote, Two Votes, I Vote, You Vote. This book talks about voting and how important it is to vote, so everyone please vote. I'm not going to read this book. I just wanted to point out as a persuasion example, as well as please, please, please go vote. The early voting, I believe, starts October the 9th. Back to my mini lesson, though, writing to change the world. And I was talking about persuasion. So we're going to be actually reading The Lorax, another Dr. Seuss book. This book is the clearest example of persuasion that I could think of because it's persuasion from both sides. We see persuasion, not necessarily writing, but Dr. Seuss is writing, so that's persuasion in writing. We see the Onceler convincing the Lorax and the people of the village that the Sneed is the thing to have. But on the flip side, we see the Lorax trying to convince everyone, and especially the Onceler, that the Sneed is not what you should have, and we should care about the trees. So I'm going to read a little excerpt for those who have never heard of the Lorax. So essentially, the Onceler has already made the Onceler has already made the Sneed, and the Lorax, which is this little guy over here, he's like, don't do that, that's bad. So, Mr. the Lorax said with a sawdust sneeze, I am the Lorax, and I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, what's that thing you've made out of my truffula truff? Pretty good. Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I am doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a Sneed. A Sneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses. It's far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or as covers for bicycle seats. Here we can clearly see persuasion with how the Onceler is saying that you need this Sneed. You need it a lot. It's something that's not quite like a lot. Some ad-lib. So the Lorax, he says, sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool Sneed. But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the Sneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor, stupid guy. Don't ever say that to people. That's a bad word. You can never tell what some people will buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up. Don't ever say that either, if you please. And then we're going to kind of boop along in the book because I love the ending and I love the kind of persuasion that is in the text because we kind of see it a little bit, right? You see it with the Onceler, and he's saying it's a shirt, it's a hat, it's a glove, and he's saying, please buy my Sneed. I am persuading you to buy the Sneed. And then the Lorax is saying, no, you don't need it. It's not good. Please don't buy it. And I'm going to stop there because I'm running a little short on time, but I recommend this book. You can watch the original Lorax film for free on YouTube. It's 20 minutes. And the Disney one, I believe, is on Disney Plus, and you can get a 7-day free trial if you want to watch it. And then you can also rent this book out. It's a great book. And so today for our writing journal, we're going to be practicing our persuasion. So I'm going to ask that we all kind of think really hard and and rewrite 1 to 2 ideas that could really help change the world. And your definition of the world can be anything you want. I don't want to limit anyone's creativity. Whatever you want to do is fine by me. If you want to write to a friend to vote, and you can send that to them. You can also send them this book, 1 vote, 2 votes, I vote, you vote. Please vote, everyone. You can pretend that you're a student, and you can, or actually, you could. I actually did this when I was we were actually in person at State. I wrote to the atrium people, and I was like, hey, there's like no non-dairy milk in here. And they started carrying non-dairy milk. So that could be your world. And that changed my world. It changed how I was able to eat and how I was able to function in my day-to-day life at State. So just write 1 to 2 ideas. You can pause here that could help change your world. Again, big or small. You could write to your parents, pretending maybe you still live with them. And you could be like, hey, we need to get a dog. That's going to change our world. So you can pause here and write that out. Okay. Now that you have that idea down, we're going to choose 1 idea, and I want you to write down 3 big points of why we should do something to change the world. In the example of getting a dog, we could say it will make family photos look cooler. The dog would add spice to your life. You could say that the dog could make a really cool blanket on cold days. Those could be your 3 big points in your persuasion writing, and you're going to write to change the world. So you can pause here and do that now. And now we're going to pretend. And now we're going to pretend that you're writing a letter to someone. Again, depending on the scope of your world, the size of your world, this depends on who your audience is. You could be writing to a member of the Senate, your representative of the House of Representatives even, and you could be writing to them to change a certain law or to advocate for a certain group of people, and to adapt and change everyone's world. I mean, it could really be anything here. So depending on what your idea and what 3 big ideas you wrote, that's going to depend on your audience. And you're going to use those 3 points and write a letter to that person, persuading them to do the main idea that you chose earlier. So you just have to convince them to do that. So use persuasive language and help them and kind of encourage them to adopt the beliefs that you want them to, or to do the things that you want them to do. And I look forward to reading all of your wonderful persuasion pieces and all of your letters to help change the world through writing. And I thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. And I appreciate your patience with writing because the sun came out while I was doing this lesson. And again, everyone, please go vote. I am being persuasive right now in the choice of books that I'm choosing, as well as the statements that I'm saying. And please vote for your local and presidential elections that are upcoming. Thank you all so much. Have a blessed day, okay?